Hello, dear homesteaders. Taking a Sabbath year, letting the soil rest for a year, is a big part of Christian farming and gardening. Recently, a viewer named JM asked me, when do we take this Sabbath year? Does the Sabbath year start when the farm was bought, or is it the calendar year? In the Bible it says, the land shall keep a Sabbath to the Lord. That's in Leviticus 25. For 6 years you shall sow your field, and for 6 years you shall prune your vineyard and gather in its fruits. That's all our farming and gardening. It's sowing, pruning, gathering fruits. Pruning also includes all the cultivation, weeding, and all that. Then it says, but in the 7th year there shall be a Sabbath of solemn rest for the land, a Sabbath to the Lord. You shall not sow your field or prune your vineyard. In the book of Exodus, we read about the same subject. Exodus 23. For 6 years you shall sow your land and gather in its yield, but the 7th year you shall let it rest and lie fallow. Now, the answer to this question is not as straightforward as you would think, and it may be even a little controversial and divisive, because it includes a little bit of legality, Christian legalism. See, according to the Jewish law and the book of Leviticus and Exodus, that's in the Old Testament, so the Jewish people, they do try, some of them who are religious, they try to keep this law, they try to keep this commandment. And according to the Jewish law, the year 21 and 22, 2021 and 2022 is the Sabbath year. In Jewish, this is called Shmita. That's the Hebrew name, and it means release. It actually applies to the whole economic system of Jewish life, not just to farming. And the rabbis who still run the religious aspects of life for Jewish people in Israel and all over the world, they say that they know when this cycle occurs, this 7-year cycle. Every 7th year, we have the year of Sabbath, Sabbatical, the Sabbatical year. And if you follow the rabbinical Judaism, the Sabbath year is actually this year. It is 2021 to 2022 because the Jewish year doesn't start in January, it starts in the fall. Last year it was in September. It started in September. So it goes from September 21 to September 22. And that's why it says 2021 to 2022. So we are now in the Sabbath year, according to the Jewish law. Now, that is a legalistic approach, which doesn't make much sense for most of us. For example, if myself and my wife wanted to follow this rabbinical command and take a year off, we haven't farmed for 6 years yet. We only farmed for a year. So if we kept this rabbinical command and kept the Sabbath year this year, we wouldn't be following the Bible, because the Bible says you can do your farming and gardening for 6 years and then take a Sabbath. But we haven't been gardening for 6 years yet because we only started last year, and 6 years has not passed for us yet. So we would be disobeying the Bible, although we would be following the rabbis. So you take your pick. And we would have to start in September. And we were still harvesting in September. We have a different climate than Israel. So this is not really practical or wise for us to try to legalistically follow this rabbinical command. And what if somebody buys a farm in 2022? Then they would have to go directly to a Sabbath year without having farmed at all. So obviously following this Shmita year, the Sabbath as prescribed by the Jewish law, does not make sense for everybody. It's like going to work. Imagine you work in the city, you have like a regular job, and you start at 9 a.m. and they tell you that you start with a break right away. You come to work at 9 and you head directly to the lunchroom and rest for 30 minutes. See, it just doesn't make sense. You have to work first before you take a break. That's common sense. And in the Bible it says you work for 6 years and then you give the land a rest. So for us, we bought our land in 2019. We started gardening in 2020. So we will take the Sabbath in 2027. That's the 7th year. And that applies to any other case. Let's say you bought your farm in 2022, then your 7th year will be 2029. That's your Sabbath year. I believe that the Sabbath should be the 7th year of working with your soil, not even the 7th year of owning the land, but the 7th year of working the land. So now, in which month do we start the Sabbath year? In the Bible, it was taken after the Jewish New Year, which was after the harvest, which was in September or October, in the fall. And it would run until the next fall. We're going to take it from January to January, from 27 to 2028, or from January 1st till the last December 31st. Because the intent behind this law is to give nature a full year free of interference. So making sure that when the first plants, the first weeds come out in the spring, they can grow, they can develop from budding until winter, until they fold for winter. So they have a full cycle of growth uninterrupted by our activities. That is the intent. Let it rest, let it go fallow. Do not interfere with what the nature throws at us in our fields. So you could also go from February to February. Just make sure you don't start it in the middle of the growing season. It has to be done before the growing season starts. So anytime from late November to late February, I would say. Unless you're lucky enough to live in Florida, then it's different. Then you probably have to start in January or December. During the Sabbath year, you can do other non-farming work. The Bible talks about sowing, pruning, and harvesting as the work directly related to the soil. So that means that in the Sabbath year, you are allowed to do other work like home improvement type of work. You can build a barn, you can paint the house, you can build a fence. Just leave all the plants alone, don't touch the trees, and don't work the soil. So there it is. That is my view of when and how the sabbatical year should be taken. Happy gardening, enjoy your rest. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.